Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey, hey. And that is for horses
All right.
and some other barnyard animals too, I guess.
Today is Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. So, and for most of us in the States, I think up in Canada too, you can tell me if that's true or not up where you're at, Rick. But of course, we ended up springing ahead in hours. We're into daylight. I don't know if you guys have daylight savings time up there or not, but
Yeah, most of the world does, from what I know. So,
yeah. So, anyways, so happy first day of daylight savings time. We're, I think, about 13 days away or so from the official start of spring, of course. Welcome to the Mikestand. So, of course, tonight we're going to be looking at comics that went on sale. We're going to be continuing our coverage of books that went on sale in May of 1940. This week, focusing in on Marvel, including the crossover story involving Namor and um, the original Human Torch, the android Jim Hammond,
the human porch.
the Human Torch. Yeah. Um, we'll also be introducing you guys to Red Raven and the first of three characters that were involved with Marvel called the Human Top. But of course, before we do get into all that, my co-host for the evening is Rick Piper from Cross Comics. I'm going to go ahead. I think you know the shtick, Rick. You want to go ahead and introduce
Yeah.
yourself, maybe share any links,
I
promote
don't
your
think I'm going to
stuff.
put any links. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put any links, but I will say, I am Rick Piper, founder and creator of Cross Comics. What's Cross Comics? It's a faith-based, Christian-based comic book company. I've produced 3 comic books, and you can see me doing stuff for them and other stuff live a lot of times over on my channel or on YouTube. Uh, aptly named Cross Comics. So there we go. There's my spiel
All
for
right.
this time around.
And so, a friendly reminder to everybody, of course, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let me just take care of something here real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get started on the material at hand. All right. So before we do get into the readings, of course, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and go ahead and
Get to some profiles on a couple
yeah,
characters.
yeah. And a little bit about
Like
some of these.
Robin. No, Red Raven, not Red Robin. Jeez.
Yeah. Red Raven and the Human Top, of course. Was
The Human Trap? Did you
the
say?
Human Top. All right, so let me just get into this. Of course, one of the comics we'll be reading from tonight will be from Red Raven #1, as well as Marvel Mystery Comics #9. So let's at least give a quick little introduction. Now we're gonna obviously not gonna read the bios and all that because that's gonna be covered in the story. That'd be almost a bit redundant. But what we will look at is some of the cool stuff like the abilities, paraphernalia, that kind of thing. So attributes. Um, so the Red Raven, apparently a non-party on this power grid. He's 3 in regards to intelligence, 3 in regards to strength, 3 in regards to speed, 5 for durability, 1 for energy projection, and 4 for fighting skills. So
Yeah, the
ability.
question is, what are these numbers out of, or do you know?
Thinking five. I'm thinking five because I've never seen any number higher than five. So I'm
Okay,
thinking we're probably out of five. You know, actually, I guess what I could do here too. Let me just go back up real quick. At least, even if we're not going to read off the entire history per se, we should at the very. All right. They don't. So what I was going to do is if they did, but they didn't here. So um, I'm going to read off just a quick little intro, like at least telling us who he is, not read the full origin or anything like that. But anyways, hand-to-hand combat. Red Raven is trained in unarmed combat. Aerial combat. Red Raven is particularly adept at maneuvering while in flight. Paraphernalia. Red Raven's wings. He wears artificial bulletproof wings, which enable him to fly at 140 miles an hour. Occasionally, he wears body armor, and he doesn't have any specific weapons. So it's basically a mortal hero who has some flight gear as part of his, part of his shtick, obviously. Um, but I guess we'll learn more.
basically, it sounds like uh, um, the first version of Falcon.
Well, that could be. Um, Anyways, let's now go back and look at the other character we're talking about here. All right, the other character we'll be looking at for the first time tonight is this character called the Human Top, and there weren't
Oh,
any
human
other
top.
significant notes on Red Raven. That's why we just simply moved on. So,
Okay.
Bruce Burvell is his real name, and from what I read when I was reading some of this earlier, some of his notes before, he's I guess the first of three characters who went by that name. We'll get into that a little bit here. So the power grid: two in terms of intelligence, two in terms of strength, three on the speed and durability, one for energy projection, and two for fighting skills. So powers: the top can spin at super speeds, fly, drill his way through walls, um, and deflect bullets with his superhuman abilities. When he crosses his wrist, he can also um, conduct the electricity of his body through conductors, um, thus obviating the need for crossing his wrist. All right. Equipment from the paraphernalia. The top's costume is green with red boots, red shoulders, red around his neck and collarbone, and a red top um, on his chest and back. Notes: Bruce Burvell should not be confused with the wartime member of the Kid Commandos, David Mitchell, also known as the Human Top, or with David Cannon, better known as Whirlwind, whose first identity was also the Human Top. And apparently, according to this, he only had like a couple of appearances here. So, but since he's a newer character, we figure we'll. Um, but with all that being said, now that we got through the intros, well, I think it'd be a good time to get started on the readings. Would you agree with that, Rick?
Yeah, probably a good time to get reading. Uh, Want to try and get through as many stories as we can, right?
Well, we've only got three set up for tonight. Three because all three are going to be pretty lengthy. The first one, the crossover story, is going to be 22 pages. The Submariner Human Torch story is going to be like 22. Red Raven, I think, is 17, and then the Human Tops 10. So 49 pages altogether.
Oh wow. You got to do a lot of reading fast, eh?
Yeah. Anyways, and there we go. Well, this one I think might be a reissue because this one's pretty bright. This one looks like it's when I was checking it out earlier this week. Marvel Mystery Comics number 9, 10 cents. 22 thrill-packed pages. The city was rapidly being wrecked as the Submariner ran wild. Could the Human Torch stop this mad destruction? Read this amazing battle of two superhumans. Also, Kazar, Electro, the Angel, Ferret, and other features.
Well, just as long as it's not a tank ferret.
Uh,
Or a
July.
blue angel.
Human Torch versus Submariner. Marvel Comics.
It's time for a fish fry.
The Human Torch versus the Submariner in the Battle of the Comic Century.
Well, seeing as how it was in the 19th century and they had a lot more battles to come, I do not think that was the most epic battle of the 19th century in comics.
Actually, this was the 20. They were in the 20th century.
Yeah, 20th century.
We're in the 21st century now.
Yeah, it always messes me up. Like 1920 or 20.
Think of it like this: the century name, the if century name, is always one more than the base of the year. So we're in 2025 right now. So that means we're in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Let's see, 22 pages of sizzling, blazing. I'll go ahead and do the narration and name more, and then you want to do the Human Torch.
Sure.
All right. I think it's Virgos with John Raptor. Start now on the next page. So, the Human Torch versus the Submariner. The Submariner, carrying out his vow to destroy the human race because of an injustice done him, is warned by Betty Dean, the policewoman, who is his only human friend, that unless he leaves New York, his life will be in grave danger. For the Human Torch, now a member of the police department, has been detailed to put an end to the Submariner and his reign of terror. The Submariner scoffs at Torch's ability, daring him to come out and fight in the open. The Torch, after repairing some of the damage done by the Submariner, finally catches up with him as he, the Submariner, attempts to wreck the George Washington Bridge. After a brief struggle, the torch's heat drives the Submariner into the water. And so the contest of the giants begins. The Human Torch, master of all flame, versus the Submariner, lord of the subsea. All right. That blazing fool will be tougher than I thought. Something will have to be done. Ha! I know just the thing. One of those air pressure tanks that will blow the idiot's fire out. Submariner hurries back to his aerial sub. Taking one of the high pressure air tanks um, used for motor combustion in the sub, he heads back to the Statue of Liberty, his self-appointed castle. That flaming fool is sure to look for me at the statue, and when he does, I'll have a surprise waiting. Submariner's guess was correct. No sooner does he arrive at the statue when a blazing figure suddenly appears, the Human Torch. See the torch there in the background, Rick?
Yeah.
Speeding swiftly through the air, the torch lands a split second later. What the? You already?
Yes. Oh, yes. The water, you water rat. I got you at last.
Yeah, just because he's a robot doesn't mean you have to sound. Just because he's an android doesn't mean you have to sound robotic.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it'd be something unique for him. This is just a sample of what you are in for.
But Submariner ducks. So that's your sample, is it, Bah? Grabbing the air hose. What's your hurry, hot stuff?
Hello, Netsutsumi. Netsumi's here and saying hello to you, Mike, and asking how it's going.
All right, we're just in time. We're getting into the start of the first of three stories we're reading tonight, Natsumi. We're looking at the battle of the century, of the comic century here, between
Supposedly.
the original Human Torch of Jim Hammond, the android Jim Hammond, and Namor the Submariner. So as always, if you haven't already, if you can help us out by liking and sharing the screen, so we get some more friendly people in here to engage, and we appreciate it. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, let's continue on then. He turns the full force of compressed air on the torch. You need cooling off. The torch's flame goes out. And if that doesn't convince you, well, I give away free samples. A mighty crack of the submariner's fist, and the torch goes sailing into the bay. And this is one of them. Shock! The Human Torch comes to just in time to turn on his flame, thus breaking his fall. But not soon enough to save himself entirely. Now I've got you where I want you. In the water where his flame powers are not going to be as effective. Submariner dives into the boiling, steaming water after the torch. This is the end of you, my little glowworm. Submariner subdues the torch. Look at that, he's got him in a headlock right there. You see that?
Yeah.
Got him in a headlock. Then I'll take him back. I'll take him back home and find out what makes him work. Submariner drags the unconscious Torch into the aerial sub. I could use his ability to control fire. Now sit there and cool off while I get the motor going. Submariner goes to the air tank and something's wrong with this hose. Stuck. Bah! Suddenly, the air pressure begins to work, and the hose slips from Submariner's grasp. And what? What the? He's coming too. Look at all those bubbles, hey Rick?
Yeah.
Bubbling up there. A Submariner leaps after the riding hose. The terrific pressure hurls the revived Torch up against the wall, forming a huge bubble about him. The bubble of air rises, moving forward the open door of the aerial sub. He's inside that air bubble. As Submariner clutches at the bubble, it slips out the door. And, bah! I can't hold it. Starts rushing towards the surface. Desperately, Submariner attempts to hold back the elusive air bubble. Leaping to the top of the bubble, he tries to crush it, but fails. Bah! Bah! Furious at his inability to destroy the bubble, Submariner swings his mighty fist. But the force of the blow only shoots the bubble up toward the surface, the bay carrying the Torch inside it. What do you think of the story thus far, Rick?
Pardon?
What do you think of the story thus far?
Not bad. Pretty one-sided, it seems.
Yeah.
Okay, so
As
did
the
you read
bubble,
the?
huh?
I was gonna ask whether you read the one
No,
bubble.
I haven't read the narrations yet. There's two
Uh,
narrations. As the bubble surface, breaks surface, the Torch revives and breaks into flame, bursting the bubble and rocketing into space.
that was close.
Got away, and it was my own doing. But I'll get him yet. Bah! Just enough air left to start the motor. There must be another way. I know. In the meantime, you want to do the chief there, and I'll do Betty there.
What the?
The Human Torch. But I tell you, I can talk to Namor. I'm sure he'll listen to me. He's not all as bad as you think.
I know, Mikestand, but we can't take a chance. The Submariner must be destroyed. And I am just the one to do it.
15 minutes later, Commissioner, switch on your television set. Torch, watch this.
Watch what?
This is my final warning. Get off my trail, Torch, or take the consequences. Wait.
He can't. It's his job to get the Submariner.
The Torch heads toward Radio City and
I'll take the consequences, and this time I won't fail.
burns through the roof. That guy again.
Thank heavens. He threatened to kill me unless I televised him.
Keeping off the floor so that his flame body will not harm the studio. The Torch whirls towards the Submariner.
I've got you, Waterbug. I got you now, Waterbug.
That's what you think. Submariner suddenly leaps through the hole made in the roof by the entrance of the Torch. And you don't think too much. Then, come on, catch me.
Don't worry, I will. Don't think you will get away this time.
Submariner heads toward the reservoir and as the Torch hurls a sheet of flame after him.
This is the end of my fine water moccasin.
Now, before I do go on to the next page there, do you know what a water moccasin is, Rick?
I've known at one time water. I'm thinking a beaver or sea monster.
Actually, I think it's a type of snake, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He dives, and the flames follow. The flames, obeying their master command, completely cover the reservoir, thus trapping Submariner in his own element.
Now for the final touch. Where's your phone? I want to call the police.
Right inside. You're the Torch, ain't ya? Meanwhile, what's wrong? I'm choking. Unknown to Submariner, the water contains chlorine. Chlorine fighting its deadly effect on his system. He tries frantically to get above the flames. Chlorine, which and what Rick, do you know what chlorine is?
Yeah, I know they put it into pools and all that to keep them clean and all that from
Right.
bacteria and all that.
Right.
Because, well, they put them in pools up here in Canada, so.
Yeah. That's what it is. So, but the intense heat drives him back. Slowly but surely, the chlorine takes its toll. I'm getting weaker. I'm getting weaker. Chlorine, for those of you who may not know, and I'm sure everybody does already, anyways, the chlorine is not meant for human consumption.
No.
Whether breathing it or drinking it or eating it or anything like that, it's not
Or
meant for
apparently
human.
in Namor's case, mutant consumption either, or non-human consumption.
Um, then, then, no longer able to combat the power of the chlorine, Submariner passes out. In the meantime, unaware of Submariner's predicament, the Torch has carried out his plan. Betty and the police commissioner's assistant arrive.
Those army planes will fix him.
Poor Namor. I hope you're right. The planes roar over the reservoir and bomb it. Boom! The terrific blast hurls Submariner out of the reservoir. Badly stunned, but still alive, Submariner lifts himself groggily from the ground. As Submariner staggers to his feet, the Torch calls the flames from the reservoir. Then,
You won't be so lucky this time. Those aerial bombs were my mistake, so we're even on that score.
Submariner strikes, but his fist sails right through the Torch's flame.
Haha, go on, enjoy yourself.
What the? The Torch leaps and circles Submariner with a ring of fire.
Let's see you get out of that.
The intense heat of the flames drives a protective flow of water from Submariner's sprinkler system. So he basically has a way. uh, hmm. There's only one thing to do. His body, armored by the flowing waters, Submariner gambles, and I've got to do it. Um, but as he flies to the flames, the wings on his ankles are badly singed. Look at that. You see that, Rick?
Yeah,
And he crashes to the ground.
ha,
As Submariner gets to his feet, a plane roars down at him, machine guns blazing. Go on, fire, stupid fool. You'll be more help than harm. My wings may be burned, but I can still jump.
what the?
As the plane thunders by, Submariner makes one last tremendous leap.
Blazers, that guy's got more lives than 7 cats.
7 cats, 9 lives, 63 lives.
I can't use any fire while the pilot is still in the plane.
Submariner climbs into the cockpit and out you go. The submariner's more human instinct suddenly comes to the fore. Whoa, killing this poor fool won't accomplish anything. I'll open his parachute.
The pilot bailed out. Now I can go after Submariner in earnest.
The torch hurls a ball of fire at the speeding plane,
Like this.
and it bursts like a bomb in Submariner's face. Hey!
Here's another.
The second ball of flame explodes harmlessly as the submariner, dazed, zigzags the ship toward the river. Suddenly, the torch shoots ahead and cuts the plane in half, but the submariner has seen him coming and dives into the water just in time to escape.
And blazes, he got away again.
Something will have to be done about that firebug. But what? Ha, I know. There's only one way to lick him. Why didn't I think of that before? As the submariner swims away, let's see what the torch will do.
That slippery eel, I've got to find a way to finish him off for good. And find it fast.
The torch lands in front of the police station just as Betty and the commissioner arrive.
He is every bit as tough as you are. You say, Commissioner, any suggestions?
You're actually the commissioner. I read him last because it said commissioner, but you're the
Okay.
commissioner. So,
have you thought of chemicals?
why don't you leave him alone? I could persuade him to go away.
That's too risky. That's too risky. Chemicals, blazes. I think you've got something there. Where are you going? To the chemical lab.
In the chemical laboratory of the police department,
I'm looking for the chemical that will burn submariners off the face of the earth.
Submariner, huh?
Here it is, just the thing, sulfuric acid. It'll burn right through that tough skin of his. Suppose he takes the water.
Torch, wait.
Then heaven help him. Minute he touches the water, he will be blasted to bits.
You can't do that.
That's what you think, Fraser. Where can I get enough sulfuric to turn the trick?
At the Topi Chemical Works across the river. They'll have it in quantities large enough for your purpose. Oh,
Easy. Oh no, I think that's the assistant. I'm not sure. Easy, Miss Dean. Good. I'll see you later. I'm on my way for the last time. Here we are now.
as the torch lands, a startled watchman appears. What the torch?
I've got to have a lot of sulfuric acid right away.
Sulfuric acid? Holy mackerel, what for? I'm taking a chance, but
Don't worry, this is police business.
in the storage room. There it is, help yourself. But Human Torch, but unknown to the Torch, Submariner has also come to the plant for another purpose.
Now to find that human sponge. Hey, what's that?
It looks like it is one of those rare occasions where maybe I should have read the the narration after the fact. But anyways,
There you are, you rat.
and so Submariner ducks as the decanter strikes a pillar. Oh no, you don't.
Oh, you missed a. Yeah, well, you'll not get away this time.
That's what you think. The torch hurls a second decanter of the treacherous acid, and again Submariner dodges. The decanter sails wildly through the air and strikes the ropes that suspend a painter's stage. Deserted by the workmen, the acid acts quickly. Burning through the hemp, the Submariner wheels in time to see the stage falling toward a vat of nitroglycerin. Boom! Instantly, he dives into the water reservoir um, in the center of the huge floor.
Oh, what?
Missed that blast, but a split second, this bird's getting, but by a split second, this bird's getting difficult. Were you about to say something, Rick?
No, no, wasn't thinking. I was gonna say something, and then I realized what I was thinking was irrelevant, so stop myself.
Okay. He's busy subduing the fire. He won't see me. Got away clean. Now to find the testing laboratory. Submariner spies a huge, heavy translite case in the laboratory. Hooray! The first door I came to. Ha! Just what I need. Baby, this is your lucky day. Let's see let's see what the torch does with this. With his colossal strength, he hoists its 2-ton weight on his shoulder. On his shoulder. I'll put that dope in a spot he'll never get out of. All right, Mr. Torch, you you asked for it. Now get ready. On the balcony, he watches the Torch's uh, futile efforts to find him. Then, like a streak of lightning, he leaps. Let's see you burn your way out of this.
Jumping blast. What's he up to now? Come on, you big fish. Hey,
I'm coming. I'm coming. Flame and aren't. I'm coming. Flame and aren't you sorry? Ha ha.
why, you dirty.
Ha. Trapped under the 2-ton translite cylinder, the Torch is helpless as the submariner laughs at him. Well, Torch, you're through at last. No more flame for you, my boy. I'm going to put you out of existence forever. Desperately, the Torch smacks the side of the tube, um, but the rubber-like texture um, merely stretches um, with the impact, then snaps back into place. Wow, so it's kind of like he's hitting like a rubber wall or something like that, huh?
Yeah,
With superhuman strength, Submariner lifts the heavy capsule, giving air to the Torch. Now we'll take you out of here and give you the works. He bursts into
thanks,
flame. Oh.
thanks, pal. You're doing me a favor.
Hurriedly, Submariner clamps the cylinder down again. Holy mackerel, I forgot. The minute he gets any air, he goes on fire. Well, yeah, you need to burn oxygen off, obviously. So, let's see. Need to see something here. We can read that after this.
If I ever get out of this, I'll burn every inch of your dirty hide.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. What am I going to do with you, you confounded firebug? Hey, kids! Here we've gone and left the Human Torch and Submariner with an awful problem. They're deadlocked. The Torch is helpless while confined in the translite tube. Submariner can't get at him without endangering himself. Submariner can't leave the Torch for um, someone may come to release him. What will they do? What would you do? What's your solution? Watch for ours in the very next issue of Marvel Comics. All right, so we're done with that. So, overall impressions, Rick.
Pretty good, for sure. It's nice to see a couple characters that have their own stories. I'm not sure whether they both have their own book, but see the interaction, the story, or the world starting to build. Although I know it probably builds a little bit back here, but I think it doesn't really start building till Spider-Man, Iron Man come out like that.
Well, Spider-Man, I know, doesn't come out till like the early '60s, so we're still like 20 years at this point. We're still 20. Like some of the characters that, well, even the Human Torch. This is the first Human Torch. This is, of course, this is
Yeah,
Jim the android, not to be confused with Johnny Storm of the Fantastic Four.
yeah.
That the Fantastic Four came later, you know. So,
But I mean, what I was more meaning is that in the '60s, the characters start to interact a lot more compared to
mhm,
in you know comics of the '40s. It's very thing spread apart where they will interact with other characters in the same comic universe. It,
mhm,
you know, you barely even know. They're in the. You're not even sure sometimes whether they're in the same universe,
mhm.
except for the fact that they tell you they are.
Yeah, yeah, I think Marvel, or in this case, Timely, might have been one of the first ones to actually proactively start world building almost from the early days of the comics. Whereas with other companies like DC, it took a little more time to do
Yeah.
it. Um,
Well, they probably
but
saw that it was working for Marvel or Timely back then, and they decided to do it.
all right. So
Okay.
with that, oh, go ahead. I didn't know
I was
you
going to
were.
say, well, you get the next story set up. I'm going to go grab a sip of something to drink.
All right. All right. So with that, we're gonna, of course. Whoa, how did that happen? Anyways, I inadvertently pulled something up there that wasn't trying to. But anyways, um, while Rick is doing that, is we are getting ready here to. So now we're gonna get ready to move on to Red Raven #1. So we're gonna read, of course, the origin stories of Red Raven and the Human Top. So the first Human Top, Bruce Brevel. So. Um, And again, another friendly reminder, of course, if you guys can help us out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, we're just, as I said, getting ready to move on. We're now going to go on to Red Raven #1, first issue of Red Raven. Oh, I think there was only, even though Red Raven, the character, had a number of appearances. Um, let's see, there was only one issue of his.
Red Raven.
Yeah. So #1, Red Raven, August 10 cents. That's the cover date, of course. Out of the skies swooped powerful, powerful. Above it was Red
Figure.
Raven. Huh?
I think it said powerful figure of the Red
Oh,
Raven.
yeah. Also, the Human Top, Eternal Brain, Mercury, plus other smashing new comics. Action, thrills, mystery, adventure. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and let you do the Red Raven this story. So, um,
Okay.
all right. I'll do the narration, of course. Into the maelstrom of crime and corruption that calls itself civilization swoops a powerful, mysterious champion known only as the Red Raven. He has dedicated his life and powers to the defense of and preservation of decent society on Earth. So look right there. There's that's his costume right there.
Yeah.
On a stormy night, the clipper ship, winging its way across the treacherous Pacific, suddenly is thrown off its course. Gripped in an unusual pressure um, pocket, the craft loses control and is at the mercy of the raging storm.
Okay,
I can't control the ship. It is doomed. Sense, Sensing the plight of the ill-fated ship, a mother offers up a prayer for the safety of her baby boy. Mama, I'm fine. Suddenly, the ship is captured fiercely onto the mysterious floating island in the clouds and crashes to its doom. Crash!
and I think that was not captured but catapulted.
Oh, catapulted. Okay. A morbidly curious group of birdmen, inhabitants of the strange celestial island, gather about the wreckage in hushed silence. A heartrending cry pierces the deathly silence.
Mama!
Oh. I want my mama. Let me go. The weird. Oh, okay. I'll do the baby. You can do the. I think that's going to be our protagonist right there.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be Red Raven,
Right.
the baby.
The weird Broman take the lone survivor of the Holocaust to their king's castle. Now, in this case, they're using the term obviously the actual Holocaust. I don't think it happened yet. The one when people hear the word, the one that we know of is not what they're talking about here because that still happened.
Yeah, well,
they're meaning
Holocaust.
a more general term of what a Holocaust is.
Yeah, obviously, most people think there's the Holocaust, which involved Hitler and the Jews, but this obviously is using the word without that because that hasn't even happened yet. It might be beginning to happen, but
at its dictionary definition, basically.
Yeah, which is unusual because calling the a plane crash of like 2 or 3 people and calling that a Holocaust seems a little overblown.
Hmm. Yeah. The gods spared only this waif. He beholds us curiously. His premature mind cannot fathom the mysteries of evolution. He cannot construe that as man came from apes, we were evolved from birds in this gravity-free island. I'll let you do the guy right there. Even I know I did.
We shall never grow up to destroy. He shall never grow up to destroy us. He must die.
Stop! I shall raise him to be to be the strongest and wisest human there is Um, wisest human. There is need for such a human in this wicked world. So his people want to destroy the kid, make sure he can't grow up to hurt them. But the king decides, oh, I'm going to just raise him myself and raise him to do the right thing right from jump.
Yeah.
Guided wisely by the kindly king of the birdmen, the orphaned youth grew wiser and stronger with the passing of each year. The strange existence, the strange existing conditions which enable the birds to outgrow the slow pace of usual evolution has affected the king's human ward, and he has learned the secrets of the birds. And look at all the years passing there. that was a nice trick they did with like not just comics but cartoons too. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See that, Rick? See that?
Yeah.
That on his 20th birthday, the red-hatched Earthman, who had grown to manhood, is called before the king. We have grown to love you. You have learned our secrets of happiness, peacefulness, and charity. The rapid stride of evolution has given you a far superior brain and body. You are as brave as our bravest bird, the raven. I shall call you the Red Raven. With the aid of the wings we made for you, you shall go back to your people and devote your life to eradicating the elements that make for unhappiness in their world. This is my wish. Wow. So you notice how he's that's kind of a different way of saying that, right? What
Yeah.
what do you think the more common thing he's saying there?
Like you said, I'm sending you back to go fight crime. Yeah.
Right. And we've seen that in a few stories from around this time, haven't we?
Yeah.
Right? Where
Yeah.
some isolated person or isolated civilization finds an orphan, raises them
Yeah.
to condition, and then sends them back out in the world. We've seen that seems to be a common theme of this time period. They just had a
Yeah.
very
Well,
interesting way of saying it this
yeah.
time
It's like
around.
it's I'd say almost a Tarzan story, but similar. But instead of apes, he's raised by birdmen.
Well,
That seems to be
there's a few other stories I can like Speed Centaur and Centaur Publications. You're right.
yeah. I don't
That's
know that.
another character
I know
that kind
you've
of
read that a couple times or more than a couple times. I just don't.
yeah.
I haven't been here
One
for
that
it
we'll
all.
probably be reading soon. If I don't think we've read it yet, but one we'll probably be reading soon. Uh, Black Condor from
Yeah,
Quality
you
Comics. That
read
was
it
another one,
once.
another situation where that happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I was also going to say it seems like a touch of, although I don't think it existed yet, or maybe it did. Flash Gordon, with the Birdman.
well, I wasn't aware of that, but anyways, okay. So say your piece because you're the Red Raven here.
Yeah. Your wish, O regal father, is my command. I shall go back to my people. Unhappy is my departure.
Why do you think unhappy is his departure?
Because he likes where he's living, you know. He
Well,
knows
yeah, but
everybody.
also because these bird people have become his family, right?
Yeah.
So, back on Earth, the Red Raven learns of the appalling conditions which exist.
What a mess.
The Red Raven preliminary investigation reveals endless breadlines, poverty, disease, and shattered hopes everywhere.
Someone is responsible for all this.
The Red Raven decides to find employment in order to further probe the existing conditions. Push back, move over, I'm stepping in.
It's Moocher. Push back.
Oh. Push back, Moocher.
Yeah.
Oh. Push back, Moocher. I'm stepping in. A tear bomb thrown by police disperses the scrappers, all except the Red Raven, who remains for more action.
Come on back. I'm just getting warmed up. Tear gas. Like how they referred to it there. Tear bomb.
Yeah. But in his subterranean castle, Zilmo, the ruthless demon who has been draining the world of its riches through various nefarious means, has watched the episode involving the Red Raven through his graphic machine.
Gray's Grapho. I think it's Gray's Grapho. Yeah.
Gray's Grapho. You notice how they come up with some of these interesting names for this stuff?
Yeah.
His Gray's Grapho machine, a mechanism competent of detecting all troublesome scenes everywhere. Brave and powerful hoodlum. I can use him. Fail to bring him to me, and you will suffer the fate of the trembling death. Go now swiftly. The tear gas has a weakening effect on the Red Raven, and police overpower him. Zilmo's thugs reach the scene. Snatching the Red Raven from the police, the thugs toss a deadly missile at the patrol wagon. Boom! Revived, the Red Raven is led through a maze of subterranean passages lined with gold statues. The master will be pleased to see you. The Red Raven goes willingly to the lair of the demon Zilmo. Gold, glittering, radiant, glimmering gold. Gold, which has made groveling slaves of men. With it I have the weapon with which to make all humanity my cringing slaves. Gold, gold, I shall have all of it in time. You shall serve me. I have been winning the battle of the survival of the fittest. You are strong and brave. As my slave, you can help me reap all the riches from the world and put humanity in bondage. I shall have more gold. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly. Do you, Rick?
No. But the Red Raven will. Fly, that is.
Yeah. Defying the power mad tyrant, the Red Raven refuses to become
Um,
part of
did you
the
read the
wicked.
next panel?
There wasn't anything there, I don't think. Yeah, I read that. I read
You
that.
finished off at, I heard. I thought you finished that gold, and I saw gold in the one panel, but not the other. So
Yeah. All right. So, defying the power mad tyrant, the Red Raven refuses to become part of the wicked machine.
I will not serve you, you fiend.
Impudent dog, you shall suffer a horrible death. The tyrant pushes an obscured button, and the Red Raven is catapulted into a deep black dungeon. In this chamber you shall age 100 years in an hour and die of old age. Oh, so he's got an aging chamber.
Supposedly.
Uh-huh. Bring me the other recalcitrant one. She shall die in bad company with this cur. Ha ha ha! For disobeying me, you shall live your entire life in but 1 hour. Release me, you serpents. Yow!
Who did you fall for?
Oh, save me from this horrible death. Nice fun. Oh, the cry revives the Red Raven, who sees the human body catapulting towards him. As the aging gas begins to pour into the airtight chamber, the girl watches her partner in death turn into the Red Raven.
My membranous wings may save us.
Who, who are you? The handicapped by the weight of the girl, um, his decreasing vitality due to the gas, which is aging him, the Red Raven, despite his extraordinary strength, cannot force open the trap door. Mustering all his strength, despite his handicaps, the Red Raven finally manages to budge the door. Don't weaken. Remember, life begins at 40.
Uh, uh, I think
Lock, they are alive, and he's sprouted wings. Blast a dog to kingdom come. Gilmo is escaping.
not so fast, my golden leech.
We must get out of here before the gas overtakes us.
When the gas fills this room, it will be blown to smithereens.
The Red Raven takes the girl through the winding channels to safety. Faster, faster, the room is filling up with gas.
We will be outside soon.
Boom!
Boom, boom, ain't great to be crazy.
Having escaped, the pair look over the city, which has suddenly been showered with gold. My name is Andriva. What is yours?
Just call me Red Raven.
Goodbye. Perhaps we will meet again some day. I must find Zilmo's henchman and the many
Um,
other gold. What?
I think that was my line. That Bubbles going to
Oh,
hit.
oh. Okay, I couldn't tell. I didn't see where the tail was. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Goodbye. Perhaps we will meet again someday. I must find Zemo's henchman and the many other gold caches which they have hidden somewhere.
That word is actually cachet. Yeah,
Caches.
yeah.
Caches. I think it's. I don't know why I said cache. Probably because of well, it's caches too. I'm thinking probably the internet way that say it for thing. I think it's spelled the same way. But anyways, on to the next panel.
Yeah. So that's where the gold was going to. And he was responsible for all those murders and deaths, you say?
And this Red Raven you told us about, where'd he go?
He said he was going back to his island in the clouds, but that he may see me again.
This is too much for me.
Having rid the world of the fiendish gold leech, Red Raven returns to the land of the birdmen to report to his king.
You know what? There's also a little bit of Wonder Woman in here too.
Hmm.
Although I don't think Wonder Woman exists yet, so
Not quite. She's still about a year or two away at this point.
yes. He is dead, but his henchmen are free at other gold caches
Cache.
to caches to continue his sinister deeds.
Hmm. You must find them and destroy them, or else they will destroy many souls in their mad desires. Let us combat the let us consult the royal scientist. You make an odd request. A mechanism which can detect the presence of elements?
You must hurry, for even now the Zemo underlings are carrying on his marauding plans.
After many hours of arduous work, the royal scientist is elated at the fruit of his efforts. I have it an element detector. When the needle points to 17,000 magmatic uh, prelons, it designates the presence of designates the presence of gold. And when blessed be the powers of scientific deduction.
With this, I shall ferret out the thieves.
I'm going to go off camera here for a quick moment to do a couple quick little things here. So if you want to talk to the chat a bit, promote
Yeah.
anything while I'm gone, I'll be right back.
Well, hello everybody. Who's all here? Natsumi, are you still here? Are you enjoying the readings tonight? If you are, anybody else that might be lingering? Are you enjoying the readings tonight thus far? Not sure what else to talk about. I don't know why, but tonight I am feeling a bit tired. Maybe it's because of the time change. I got to sleep later than normal last night, and of course, I'm feeling a bit peckish because I think of the time change, getting up a little earlier, not getting quite as much sleep as one I would normally get on a Saturday night. Probably after this, I'm going to probably almost go to bed right away. Try and get a couple hours sleep for well, sleep for the night to make up for last night. So what shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? So early in the morning. Yabba dabba doo. Yabba dabba doo, Scooby Dooby Doo. Let me tell you, Jesus be loving you.
Yeah, as we're coming up on 6:30 here, where I'm at here in California, I was just having to try to determine if it'd be a good idea to turn my light on in my room here or not. I'm trying to we have enough light here. But with that, let's get back to the story here. Yes. Anyways, let's see. Armed with the element detector, the Red Raven swoops over the countryside in a feverish attempt to find the the gold caches. Both of those are you, Rick.
Okay. It doesn't. It can't be. This doesn't work. Undoubtedly, the thieves have the gold in
Subterranean.
subterranean vaults. If I can't find them, perhaps they can find me. You. You,
In,
you.
oh,
Oh, sorry.
in hopes of luring the gold leeches, Red Raven takes a gold detector to a newspaper office.
And you have gold teeth in your mouth. You see, it is such a simple with this machine.
With the trap set, Red Raven waits for the bait to be snatched.
If this doesn't draw some attention, I've missed my guess.
Fearful of the detector, the thieves come to destroy it. Your detecting days are over.
We'll table that suggestion for a while.
Ouch!
I've been waiting. I've been saving this for your visit.
Let's see. Having lured the thieves and overpowered them, Red Raven prepares to go into action as the feared Birdman.
Sorry to have been a bad host now, but one of you accompanying on my little trip. Lend me your stronghold or go crashing to your death.
No, don't drop me. I'll lead you in anything you say. At the stronghold of the gold thieves, Zilmo's successor, Ratoga, has watched the Red Raven through his gaze grapho machine. Ha ha ha! Red Raven, I'll clip his wings. In retaliation, Ratoga sets a trap for the Red Raven. Come into my parlor, said the ha 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 ha. What's the other half of that? You remember what the other half of that phrase is?
Pardon?
Come into the parlor, said.
Come into my parlor, said the
spider
to the fly.
Meanwhile, Red Raven disposes of his excess baggage.
Hang around here for a while.
Unwittingly, Red Raven flies into the trap. A bird in the net is worth two on the wing. Ha ha! What have your efforts netted? You, ha ha ha! You will die a horrible death. Pleasant dreams. Victim of Ratosa's foul play, the Red Raven is thrust into the vibrato machine, most horrible of all torture devices, which throws its victim about till his bones are shattered and his brain is snapped. Throw the fool in. He has decreed his own fate. Reviving in time, the Red Raven flaps his wings and maintains his equilibrium midair. An hour later, cut the power. He must be dead inside. Red Raven feigns death. He's a goner. When the thieves have departed, Red Raven makes good his escape. Through his future scope, Retosa outlines his plans. Zemo only wanted gold for power. I want arms, wealth, lands, and complete domination of all humans. This will be the fate of all who challenge my progress. We shall keep all our riches and munitions, forts like these, so that fools like the Red Raven cannot detect our whereabouts with toy machines. It's the Red Raven!
I will never be. This will never be.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
I'll take this. The royal scientist said 17,000 T4 for detecting gold and 18,000 for drawing the gold. I shall drown these fools in their own riches.
I think. The twist of the dial to 18,000 causes the gold in the walls to cascade into the room like a waterfall. Ew! Stop! Stop that machine! At 20,000 prelons, the machine condenses the molecules in the air into a red gas.
Police.
It's the Red Raven. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to read the thing. Police, follow line.
It's the Red Raven. A little later, and the mysterious Red Raven put the finishing touches to a job he began recently. Not only did he restore the wealth which had been hampering economic progress, but in his one man, or shall we say bird, war against these wicked criminals, he prevented wholesale slaughter and future world of slavery and bondage. He's wonderful. Oh. Follow the exciting adventures of the Human Torch in every issue of Marvel Comics. Big issue, Human Torch and Submariner. All right, so we got through that one before we get started on the last story here. Overall impressions. Rick?
Yeah.
Overall impressions on that story.
It was pretty good. I think the main thing, it was, I think, a little too long. I think they could have split it in two. After he rescued the girl, got her to safety. I think they should have cut it there and had that other part for another story, another day. But this only got one issue, right? So.
Yeah. Well, I think they do say that he made two. Well, actually, he comes back in other issues, but
Yeah.
not in this issue, obviously. But
yeah, that's what I mean. But Red Raven only got one issue, right?
Mm-hmm. The book itself, yeah.
The book itself, yes, he made other appearances in other books, but I'm not counting those. Not talking about those. I'm just talking about his own self-titled book. And did he have any appearances before this?
No, this was his first appearance.
Yeah, I think that might have been the real big fault. They didn't build him up in another thing to get him his own thing. I think that's why maybe he faltered a little. And like I said, it was all right, but I don't think the premise probably would have hit home with a lot of people. They did, and they did talk about evolution a little bit, lot. Well, not a lot, but enough that might have thrown people off in that day and age, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is fantasy, though. I mean, I think that
Yeah,
was just the way they were obviously
yeah.
looking at
I'm just hypothesizing, you know.
it. Yeah. All right, so we have one more story we'll get to, and then we'll start to wrap things up. We'll, of course, do this thing, but let's get to this last story here, the human top. Human top is
How
the
many
one with
pages
only
is
two
this?
appearances. What was that?
How many pages was it? Is this one again?
One's 10.
Oh, okay.
So this one's the shortest. So, Rick, just as a reminder to you, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but usually when I pick stories out, I will
Yeah,
usually try to read them in
yeah,
descending page order. In other words, I'll start out with the story that has the most pages, and then
yeah.
work my
I know that. The only reason I was asking, normally I don't care a lot. It's just I'm not sure whether you notice I've half been falling asleep for a second or two here or there.
yeah. Well,
But
I think part of it too. This copy's a little bit harder to read too because of the fact it's not
yeah,
quite as bright as the other one. But it's better. It's better than last week when RJ and I were trying to read the Hour Man story because I want to get that one in there because it introduced Doctor
an
Steam.
hour to
But
read it.
that scan was just so bad we couldn't read it.
Yeah,
So
I joked. It took you an hour to read it.
no.
This game was so bad it took us an hour to read it.
No, not that. We quit after the first couple panels and we realized it was just too much. So too bad. So anyways, let's get to this last story here then.
Okay.
Um, the Human Top by Don Barr. And I'll do both the narrator and the lead character here, and then you can help out with some of the supporting characters this time.
Uh,
In his castle, a scientist is experimenting on a young man, Bruce Burvell. He is seeking a formula to nourish the human body by electrical currents instead of food. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning um, pierces the castle. I'm going to need to go off camera here for another quick moment. I'll be right
yeah.
back.
Hey, people. So don't. I'm assuming there is nobody. We might have some people lingering, which is always good. But I take it Natsumi is not here,
Hmm.
which is all right. Just trying to think of what to talk about. I'm just, as I was mentioning a little earlier, a little tired. I just want to get through this so I can hit the head and talk about May. I don't know why I want to talk about May, just because her name rhymes with hay. Sort of.
All right, I'm back now, Rick.
Okay.
All right. Professor, Martha, are you all right?
All these women named Martha. Bruce Wayne's mom, Clark Kent's adopted mom. Now this girl.
Yeah. Revive the. I wonder if I missed something up top there. Oh, maybe I didn't. But anyways, let's see. Revive the professor tests the electric currents in Bravel's body. You want to do the professor right there?
Strange. The current I injected flows to the right. Your body, the current injected by lightning, flows to the left. Opposing magnetic forces. Hmm.
Can I utilize these opposing currents in any way?
Ivana, cross your wrist. This way.
As Burvell joins wrist, the blast of his pulse coordinated, combining the two currents in his body, which causes him to spin around like a top. So there you go.
My boy, you have a supernatural powers to perform unlimited feats. By joining your wrists together, you become a dynamo of powers. Okay, he just did one test. You haven't really tested these powers to any satisfaction. How do you know it's unlimited feats?
Again, this was the writer's limited scientific knowledge of the time. So
And supernatural, or maybe superhuman. You're talking lightning and whatever else. This isn't supernatural. This is superhuman.
this got me dizzy in a way. Where to now with my whirling stuff?
I shall call you the top. You shall fight the forces of crime and be the savior of the oppressed and innocent. Wow. Man, this guy has got some.
They're making some jumps here, aren't they? They're making some jumps here, aren't they?
Yeah, this is really the worst written Marvel story in a while.
Donning a uniform that will that will spread fear over criminals, the top ventures out into the world to right its wrongs. Suddenly, the top.
I'm sorry. From what I see there, a little bit blue and red, and a picture of the top, a top on his thing, and that ain't gonna don fear into any criminal. They're gonna laugh at. They're gonna look at him. And they're gonna laugh. What are we supposed to be afraid of?
Suddenly, the top sees two speeding cars approaching a railroad crossing. Crossing his wrist, Ravel becomes a spinning whirlwind and takes off like an airplane. The top spins across the railroad, approaching and cuts a pitch in the road. Toot! Saved from sudden death, the gangsters and their pursuers land in the newly cut pitch. Wow.
Crunch.
Give up and hand over that National Bank loot. You want to do the gangsters there?
Come and get it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, full. Come and get it. I mean, a belly full of lead, you copper.
Crossing wrist, the top joins the fray. Wow, what a guy! Spinning off with the bank loot. You want to do the guy smoking there?
Yeah. What's the trouble?
You can do
Go away. Go away.
Go away
from here. You.
But doors are no barrier to the top as he rips through a brick wall. If you're Van Reaver, here's the stolen money. Be more careful next time.
Stay where you are, you thief.
Converting himself to the human top, the top evades the deadly bullets that ricochet off his body like rubber pellets. You're a nasty fellow, aren't you? You don't appreciate my good turn in returning the money. But I believe one good turn deserves another. The following day, the top and Martha Davis are startled by
Mystery Man appears. Crash captures Robert.
So my gun wielding banker didn't return the money. You must find him, Bruce. Think of those poor depositors. The top visits Van Reaver's home. Where is your master? You want to do the servant there?
He is on his yacht, headed for the southeast. Spare me. I'm innocent.
You're still the butler guy.
Spin you in. Heard it?
Well,
Ooh.
Spin your way out of this. With his arms held apart, the top unconscious is spied away in a car by the thugs. You want to do the thugs there?
Ooh. Let's shoot. Together. So.
No.
Oh, sorry, wrong one. We'll plug him. At the high cliff, and we'll drop him down into the canyon. Let's shoot together. So let's shoot together. So we won't know who killed him.
But the
and I'm not sure whether I like what they're doing here. Too. The cross motif. I know he's talking about.
Well, that was a way to keep your hands apart. I mean, he brings his hands together to activate his powers, so they're trying to keep him from being able to activate his powers. I get possible, but that's not exactly a cross. That's more of a torture device.
I know it's just
it's not the full cross. It's only the horizontal. You don't have the vertical there.
Yeah, I get that, but it ends up putting him looking like in the same position. So I don't know whether it's obviously meant to do that or not, or like you were saying, just
Well, I don't really think they were I don't think they're really implying like any Christian mythos here. It's one of those things that makes. I mean, remember the cross or the crucifix, even though that's not a crucifix, that's just one beam across his arms and shoulders. There, that was a common. That was a torture. A torture technique that was used, or to do that to people. Granted, by this time it would have been more considered old-fashioned, but considering that they were, as I said, they were trying to keep his hands from him being able to put his hands together to activate his powers.
I can easily see that, but I guess for the first thing I thought of when I saw this was the cross, and like I said, I know that doesn't got the up and down beam, the vertical beam, I believe it is.
Yeah.
But just the position, especially in the one panel, the edge.
Yeah, but I have seen scenes of like people who are there are
I haven't really seen like
some slaves actually
are
forced. Huh? Some slaves are forced to.
I just haven't seen it. Yeah.
I've seen it once or twice before. It's not common.
Yeah.
But, all right. Anyways, getting back to this. But the rain has saturated the wood and made it a conductor of the top's currents. Just as the thugs opened fire, the top's currents contact, and he becomes a human top again. When the gangsters have used up all their bullets, the top stops spinning. Now talk fast before I whirl you over the cliff. Come on, you rats, talk.
Attack! Attack! We're part of the Van Beavers mob. He staged a phony number of phony bank robberies. Being on the inside, he makes it easy for us by sending the guards away at the right time.
Hang around a while, I'll see you later. Roaring through the clouds at breakneck speed, the top sights Van Drever's yacht in mid Pacific Ocean. The top lands with the terrific force and disrupts the calm aboard. If this ship returns to shore, no harm will come to passengers. You want to do that guy right there?
Okay. Oi, let's get him.
This is more fun than twisting my way out. I'm just going to let you do all the bad guys here.
He's too tough for bullets, but this will stop him.
Snapping into action, the top puts reverse English on the cannonballs. Now, in case for those of you who don't know, usually when people say put English on something, it usually means like put some kind of force or something on it. So reverse English is like reverse force, basically the idea there. I don't know if anybody's ever heard the expression "put a little English on it." That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's usually dealing with pool. What I know.
Yeah.
Billiards.
I'll take matters into my own hands. The top converts himself into a human rudder and propeller. Under the top's power, the boat cuts through the water like an aquaplane. Back in town, Van Deer's henchmen have aroused the citizens to inaugurate a search for the top, while Van Deer's thugs act under orders.
This spinning thief is also responsible for all your fires, deaths, illnesses. Find him and kill him.
You mustn't harm him. He is innocent. He is your friend. Back on the yacht, Van der Veer takes a lifeboat. Talk fast. Where is the money? Oh, actually, I should have gone down there first. Attaching himself to the boat, the top converts it into a flying craft. The top lands the boat on top of the public square flagpole. Talk fast. Where's the money? The infuriated masses hope for the opportunity to catch the top. Scooping up the mayor and chief of police, the top takes off from the ground. Now, Van der Veer, confess and do it fast, or I'll spin you to kingdom come.
I confess, my gang still have $1 million. It's in the vault at my home.
You mean you're the head of the Colucci terrorist?
Oh, he sure does.
My friends, the top is our friend. He has smashed the gang and that has menaced us for years. He will return only when we are in trouble and need him. Follow the breathtaking characters every month in Marvel Comics: the Human Torch, Submariner, Electro, the Marvel of the Age, Masked Raider, Kazar the Great, the Angel, Ferret. All right, so I believe we're at the end of that story. So, yep, we are. So, Rick, and I think since that's the last story, I think I can go ahead and.
Yeah, because we're basically at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, so we'll probably get ready to finish. Oops. All right. All right. So, anyways, so overall impressions of that story?
Pretty good. It was better than the last one, I'd say, for sure. It's I can say it certainly topped the second story.
All right.
Oh, come on, that's not a laugh. The human top.
Oh, okay. Even I'm a little spacey there. So I guess I'm a little. All right. So, anything more you want to say about it, or shall we move on to the next part here?
Yeah. My mind's a little fuzzy.
Now the next part being, so we read 3 stories tonight. Of the 3, which one would you say is the one you like the most, and why?
I think maybe it might be obvious, but the first one I'd say is probably was the best to me. The best. It seemed a lot more action packed, a little bit more coherent, I'd say, from what I can remember. Just it flowed a little bit better and all that. So that's what's going through my head at the moment for that. Anyways, if I wasn't so tired, I might be able to expand on it more.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll try. I'll try to get you through this as fast as you can, so you can go get your rest. But
Yeah,
um, and with that, now that so you like the Human Torch Submariner
Submariner
crossover the
fight
best. So
part two.
now of the two stories remaining, which one did you like the least and why?
Well, I think again, almost painfully obvious with comments that I've made earlier after the top story and after the Red Raven. Probably the Red Raven is one that I've liked the least of all the stories. I think it really had the worst writing of all of them. I think it really dropped the ball for what Marvel's been doing lately, the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
it's
what's kind of funny too, right? What's kind of funny about this too, because I know you, at least in your opinion, the Red Raven was worse than the Human Top or this version of the Human Top, Bruce Gravel. What's kind of funny about your statement is, from what I had read on Marvel database, right, on the Marvel wiki
yeah.
page, um, Red Robin had 36 total appearances. This
You mean
Human
Red
Top
Raven?
too. Now, granted, he had it in other books and all that, but still. So the Red Raven, yeah, the Red Raven character had 36 appearances, and the Human Top only had 2. So yeah, maybe you aren't overly thrilled with the Red Raven. You actually like the Human Top probably more than the Red Raven, apparently. But
Yeah,
that wasn't really the consensus back then, apparently.
yeah. Well, and you're saying the Red Raven as he had that many appearances, and you're saying this particular Human Top had less. But if you put the Human Top all together, all the variations, would he have more appearances?
I don't know because we're not at the other two because they
Yeah, yeah.
as we saw in the
I
notes there, the one
yeah,
there was. Oh, go
I
ahead.
wasn't really expecting an answer. I just say that because they keep bringing back the Human Top, right? In some
Mm-hmm.
iteration. So the basic character is more might be more liked, where Red Raven, like you said, he had 36 appearances. I don't think they've ever done after those 36 appearances. You would probably know more than me. Have they done any more beyond that? Did they do another iteration of the Red Raven? You know, except for
Not that I've seen. Not that I've seen. Not that I've
yeah,
seen. So
at first before I knew more about him, I was likening him to the Falcon, and he's way different than Falcon. Except they're both birds, right? And they're both in red.
well, we do know that Marvel did have a number of characters that like the Human Torch, for example, right? The one that we read today was the original one, the
Yeah,
android Jim Hammond. But we also know they brought back the idea of the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, with Fantastic Four.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Marvel's not the only company to done that either, because, well, as I mentioned when we're at the beginning of the show, right? DC had a character named the Top who was a Silver Age villain, a part of
Yeah,
Barry Allen's Rogues Gallery. Barry Allen, the
yeah.
Flash's Rogues Gallery. But he wasn't called the Human Top. He was just, now, mind you, well, you have to remember too, right?
But DC's had a
Obviously
few characters that have brought back.
around the time of the 30s and 40s and 50s,
Yeah,
a top was a popular toy.
yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what
I
a
remember the Top growing up. It was somewhat popular for when I was a
it was
kid.
a popular toy? Obviously, it wouldn't be as popular now because this generation is more into video games and all that. But
Yeah, but
tops were for a long
it
time
might be.
a
I think
popular
it's
toy.
still. I think it would still be popular among 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 year olds. A top.
That might be
Um,
true.
But older kids it probably wouldn't be as popular. But yeah, and like I said too about that story, I think they should have cut it off halfway through. After the girl got rescued, have the other portion of that for another day.
Basically, split the story in half, basically.
Yeah, because the rescued the girl. That's the origin. That seemed like a good spot to cut the story.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyways.
Yeah. You have to remember too that this is still pretty early on in comics history, and they were still just trying things. I mean, that story was a little longer than, and that's kind of funny because we've noticed that origin stories, like usually your lead features are like 12, as we've seen, for the most part. Some except maybe the lesser known companies, not as much, but usually your lead features, right, are usually about 12 to 13 pages. This one, went 17 pages. The Red Raven
was
story.
22, I think you said.
No. That the 22-page story was the Human Torch.
Oh,
yeah. And the only reason in that particular case, they were combining two features into one because they've been crossing over into each other's features. So for that particular story, I believe they just combined the two features into one feature instead of having 12 or 13 pages in each book there. They just made it 22 for one story for one combined feature, basically, because they were battling. But all right. So with that being said, then
and that's funny too. 22 pages. I was going to say that's funny too. With that was 22 pages, right? And that ends up becoming the staple number for floppies later in the future.
Yeah. Well, up to this point, the thing is, it would go at this point in time, back in the 30s and 40s, it was 64 pages. That's why they were called magazines, right?
Yeah. No.
Then it went down to 48. I think by the late 40s, early 50s, it dropped from 64 to 48. And then as we get later in the 60s and in the 70s, I think by the time we got to the 80s, it had gone down to 32 pages and remained there.
Yeah, the whole comic is 32, but usually in the 80s and 90s, the story was 22 pages.
Oh yeah, you're right at that. Well, yeah, and
that's what I'm saying.
The number of stories in these, at least in these initial anthology, but like a lot of times you had 7 or 8 stories in them. As time went on, they kind of went down, to where.
But that's what I'm saying.
For example, Action Comics for DC, right? Action Comics was originally an anthology book that had 8 stories with Superman as the lead, Zatara as the primary backup, and then you had you had some other features in between, like Tex Thompson and John Fowler and all that. And then eventually it eventually became a Superman feature book, where Superman. Now in the 80s it was Superman and one other feature, but nowadays Action is strictly a Superman feature book, part of the Superman family books. So.
Yeah, but more what my point was, just it's interesting how that story for Namor and all that is 22 pages of story, and eventually, like I said, 70s, 80s, 90s, and probably to now, is that the staple comic story in a comic book is about 22 pages. Yes, the odd time you have 20, 21, or 23 or 24. But most of the time, it's right around that 22 mark. Right. It's just funny that it happened to be that that story took that many pages.
Yeah. Well, again, as they basically shrunk down the number.
And then, of course, that is single feature, not anthologies.
I mean, as they lessened the number of features in the book, that they were giving more instead of having anthologies where, you had one story that was 12, 13 pages, you had two stories, usually the lead and the primary backup at the end, that were usually about 12 to 13 pages, and then in between those two stories, you had like
whole bunch of other stories.
Anywhere from like four to six features that were anywhere between like 4 and 8 page, or like 5 and 9 pages each, so that's just how it was. And then, time goes on and all that. So, well, with that, we're past the 2 hour mark, obviously, but so now what we'll do is, with today being Sunday, March the 9th, 2025, we'll start to wrap things up by looking back at this weekend, Nietzsche history. So let me just get through some of this real quick. All right. So with all that being said, then, so first off, we're gonna go back. First off, we're gonna go back to 1935, and this one doesn't have a summary the story here, but I myself watched it just recently. But on this date, in 1935, or not, I'm sorry, not this date, yesterday's date in 1935, which was 90 years ago yesterday. Terry Toon's The Moth and the Spider premiered in theaters on yesterday's date 90 years ago. Doesn't list the summary here, as it were, but it was a Terry Toon's. The review here says, an evil spider lights a candle to trap a beautiful lady moth in this black and white Terry Toon. Can the horsefly mounted insect cavalry saber? Most of the fun in this particular cartoon comes the way the six-legged spider behaves. So that's now Terry Toons. Just in case you don't know, Terry Toons was the company that eventually gave us Mighty Mouse and Heckle and Jekyll. At this time, of course, they were distributing through Fox Film Corporation, which would eventually become 20th Century Fox. So on yesterday's date, 90 years ago, The Moth and the Spider from Terry Toons was released in theaters. So, anyways, moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. On yesterday's date, 25 years ago yesterday, back in the year 2000, the 60th issue of Impulse from DC went on sale on yesterday's date, 25 years ago. What would Flash do? Was the name of the story, written by Dwayne McDuffie, of course, who is not only known as a comic writer, but also is one of the writers for the Static Shock cartoon, if you all remember that one. He's also had a hand in writing the Static Shock comic books, penciled by Eric Battle. Prentice Rollins did the inking. Janice Chang did the lettering, and the coloring done by Jason Scott Jones. So 25 years ago, yesterday's 60th issue of Impulse went on sale on newsstands. Moving ahead now to today's date. Let's see. First off, going back 50 years ago today to 1975. On this date, back in 1975, in Charlotte, North Carolina, Paul Jones defeated Johnny Valentine to win the NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. Of course, this was the company that would eventually become WCW. But on this date, 50 years ago today, Paul Jones defeated Johnny Valentine. Johnny Valentine, the father of Greg Valentine, for those of you who may not know. on this date 50 years ago. And finally, moving ahead to 1985, 40 years ago today, as soon as I get around to that. Getting around to that. On this date, 40 years ago today, from Artland and Art Mike Studios. Artland and Art Mike Studios. The anime film Megazone 23 premiered in Japanese theaters on today's date 40 years ago. The overall plot of it was Megazone 23 story is set in the far future of the human race after the early 21st century. Various environmental issues rendered Earth uninhabitable, forcing humanity to leave in several massive colony ships. The title are Megazones. The story itself follows the population of Megazone 23 based on 1985's Tokyo, Japan, where the population has forgotten their status as space travelers. So 40 years ago, Megazone 23 premiered. Hey, Metal.
Hey, Metal.
Yo, Megazone.
I think I have that on my Tubi list to watch, Megazone. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, with that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We got through quite a bit of content tonight, and of course we'll be back here with more niche news tomorrow. Now, before I go, I want to give Rick a chance. Rick, you want to promote anything? Share any links? You know the shtick, right?
Yeah. I'm probably not going to do much promoting, if any, or put any links in. I just want to ask Metal, if he's still here, whether next Saturday or Sunday he might be available to go through Snowdrift #2. Get that. I'll edit it properly. And then maybe in a few weeks do the Flame. Because once Snowdrift 2 is done and Flame 1, I'm going to have Alpha Proto working on, and of course Flame Canadian Shield 3. I'm going to have Alpha Proto working on Canadian Shield #4.
Well, there's your answer, Rick.
Okay. I don't know yet.
You want to read that? You can read it if you want.
Yeah, I don't know yet. DM me. I'll let you know when I know. Okay.
All right. Well, with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Oh, almost forgot here. Next Sunday, I'll be joined by Apex from Apex Comics. We'll be continuing our look through books that went on sale in May of 1940. Next week, of course, we'll be looking at the books that came out from Archie Comics. I believe we might be continuing, if not finishing up, the multi crossover in that book, featuring like the Wizard, the Shield, the Midshipmen, all that. So, and I know I started that story with Metal a while back. So you guys might want to check that out. So we are starting to see some interesting stories develop here in terms of some world building and all that. So you guys might want to stay tuned to see how things go. With that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.